Haunted houses are the sites of many unbelievable paranormal occurrences and draw the fascination of ghost hunters and skeptics alike. While some ghosts may just be friendly spectres, there are other, much more malevolent spirits and demons that lurk in some locations. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 cases of houses that might possess a dark, frightening link to the paranormal. Don Decker and the Devil. When someone is reportedly possessed, many believers and skeptics alike might first look for a scientific explanation for the odd happenings, and likely the explanations are there. However, the case of Don Decker, a man who was supposedly possessed by the devil, still stumps even the staunchest of skeptics and remains one of the most compelling cases in favor of the paranormal. In 1983, Donald Decker was incarcerated in the Monroe County Jail in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, for a charge of receiving stolen property. He was granted a furlough on February 24, 1983, to attend the funeral of his grandfather, James Kishoff. While this was a compassionate action on the part of the jail, Don Decker had reportedly been ill-treated by his grandfather and harbored a deep hatred for the man. After becoming angered at the outpouring of love and remorse expressed for his grandfather, Decker returned to the home of family friends Bob and Jeannie Kiefer, where he was overcome by strange feelings of confusion. He collapsed and began seeing a vision of an old man with a crown peering down at him from the window, and deep scratches appeared on his arm. When he came downstairs for dinner, the Kiefers noticed his scratches, and Decker told him of his episode and claimed that Satan had inflicted his wounds. Shortly after this declaration, water began dripping from the ceilings and walls, as if the ceiling were leaking from the upstairs room above. However, no cause for the water could be found despite a thorough search. In fact, there were not any water pipes in that area of the house at all. Perhaps most chilling was when the Kiefers noticed water moving up from the floor, as though defying gravity. They phoned the landlord, who called the police, and 2 officers quickly reported to the scene and corroborated the reports of the strange gravity-defying water seemingly coming from nowhere. When the Kiefers accused Decker, who was reportedly in a trance during these proceedings, of being possessed by Satan, pots and pans began crashing together in the kitchen, and Decker was lifted off the floor and flung against the wall. The next day, 2 more officers reported to the house to investigate further. One officer gave Decker a cross to try to banish the demon inside of him, and Decker immediately dropped it, saying that it had burned him. The officers then reported that he was again lifted off the ground and thrown forcefully against the wall as claw marks appeared on his neck. These unsettling occurrences, specifically the gravity-defying rain indoors, kept happening with no explanation even after Decker was returned to the county jail. Witnesses include multiple officers, family members, clergymen, and even fellow prisoners who refused to be kept in the same cell as him. The rain eventually stopped when a priest performed an exorcism on Decker while he was imprisoned, but the reputation of those unsettling events has forever marked Stroudsburg as one of the most haunted places in America, and the Kiefer house has since been demolished because of the demonic events that took place there. The McCoy Mansion. Old houses are well known among paranormal fanatics for holding onto the energies of the people who have lived and suffered there in years past. Reports of hauntings and paranormal activities beckon ghost hunters from all over, and the McCoy Mansion is no exception. Built in 1869, the stately Alton, Illinois home was a symbol of status and wealth for owner Henry McCoy, who was a prominent businessman as well as the mayor of Alton. The house changed hands several times after McCoy passed away in 1910 and was most notably used as a boarding house until its abandonment in the 1950s. The house has not been occupied in over 70 years, likely due to the unsettling reports stemming from the property, which has been called the most haunted place in the Midwest. Most of the hauntings that have been reported are of Henry McCoy himself, as well as several popular figures who appear to be household servants. Other former owners of the house, including Paul Leitchinger, who used the property as a boarding house, have been seen staring sadly from the windows. The host of ghostly energies that still reside on the property is no doubt responsible for the other paranormal happenings that abound, such as glowing orbs, menacing noises, and unexplained events. One ghost, a former housemaid affectionately known as Sarah, has been known to hug visitors, although not all of the energies that appear to be trapped in the mansion are as friendly. The most haunted area of McCoy Mansion is undoubtedly the wine cellar. Footsteps and voices can be heard echoing off the stone walls and floors, and the heavy metal door that leads to the cellar must be moved with some strength as it scrapes across the ground when opened. However, it frequently moves of its own accord, slamming open and closed at will. An odd mist that seems to come from nowhere has also been seen following people who are brave enough to enter the cell at all. The mansion's years of haunted abandonment have gained it quite the reputation as a hub of paranormal activity from vandals and locals alike, as well as from a myriad of ghost hunters and paranormal investigators attempting to contact the spirits that wander there. Time will only tell who exactly the spirits are and what they want with this place. Indiana Demon House. Sometimes real life can be even stranger than fiction, as is the case with Latoya Ammons and her family, whose experiences became the basis for the popular movie Demon House. It all began when Ammons moved into a seemingly innocent home in Gary, Indiana in 2011 with her mother, Rosa Campbell, and her 3 children who were ages 7, 9, and 12 at the time. Only a few days later, unsettling things began happening around the house. Swarms of black flies covered the porch and kept returning no matter what measures the family took to get rid of them. Campbell reported hearing signs that could indicate the house was haunted, including footsteps when nobody else was home, the sound of doors opening and closing even when they were locked, and shadowy figures moving about the home. However, the situation quickly escalated into what appeared to be a full-scale demon possession. In March, Ammons' oldest daughter was having a sleepover with a friend when the friend woke up screaming because the 12-year-old girl was levitating above her bed. After she awoke, she had no memory of the terrifying event. The frightened family sought out spiritual help, convinced that the house and their family were victims of demonic activity, and attempted to ward the house against future attacks. They built an altar in the basement, poured oil on their heads in the shape of crosses, wore white, and burned sage and sulfur throughout the house. However, several days later, the family members began having demonic fits with bulging eyes, evil smiles, shaking bodies, and deepened voices. The youngest son began talking out loud to someone who was not there, discussing what it felt like to be attacked, and was once thrown so hard against the wall that he needed stitches. They were choked and held down in their beds so that they could not speak or move, and heard voices threatening to hurt them. In desperation, they contacted their family physician, hoping that he might be able to offer a solution. Instead, the attacks escalated, and the doctor, as well as police officers and emergency personnel, witnessed incredible fits of the 2 boys, and one of the boys was lifted up and thrown against the wall. They were immediately taken to a hospital where the youngest boy had such a terrible demonic fit that it took 5 men to hold him down. Child Protective Services and a hospital psychiatrist all evaluated the family and the mother, but could not find any evidence of insanity or instability that could cause such behavior. It appeared that there was no other explanation but demonic possession. The children were taken by Child Protective Services as a precaution, and investigations were made into the family life and the home. However, inspections of the home also turned up strange occurrences, and the children continued to behave as though possessed, including one astonishing instance in which a hospital nurse reported that the youngest boy walked backwards up the wall. The episodes continued until the family received a series of exorcisms that seemed to put a stop to the terrifying events, and they have since moved away from the house that caused them so much fear. Although there are those who claim that the whole story was fabricated as a way to avoid paying rent, the plethora of witnesses who were unable to explain the terrifying occurrences throughout the possession of the Ammons family has left no doubt in many people's minds that their house was the unfortunate location of one of the worst cases of demonic possession ever recorded. Demonic possessions and hauntings are luckily few and far between, and tend to center around houses that might act as a hub for the spirits. Haunted houses can draw the fascination of ghost hunters, but some are best avoided if you don't want to witness the terrifying aspects of the paranormal. But what do you make of these haunted houses and the horror they hold? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.